It is indeed a pleasure to be here today on Armed Forces Day with our esteemed guests, our valued sponsors, our incredible veterans, and as I can see, quite a few Pease Greeters. And I especially like to thank the combat vets and the non-knights for that wonderful escort that we had. Before I begin, I'd like everyone to, as Captain Ed mentioned, scan this hall and look at all the artifacts on the wall, because they represent quite a few stories, as you can be well aware. The sea chest in front of you, a quite old sea chest, has a story to tell too. Captain Phyllis would appreciate this. It belonged to my father, who one day in 1942 was a mate of a ship traveling to Europe. It could go on and on, but I'll cut it quick the way he did it. There's going to be a lot of intrigue to this. But as a mate of the ship, a battle ensued with U-boats, and most of the ships were sunk. So it came down to the fact that the second mate, first mate, he was told, "Captain, get this ship to England." He was in charge at the old age of 23. To the right of us, you're going to see a document called the Declaration. There's another document called the Constitution. And it begins with 3 words. It says, "We the people." Those are truly historic words. And how could anyone realize that those 3 words would start a revolution that would change the entire world? We the people. Our founding fathers, who wrote those simple words, had an ideal that bound their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred trust, sacred honor. We the people. The symbol of that ideal was just as simple. It was a flag. It was made of simple cotton and had but 3 colors: red, white, blue. The instruments of our founding fathers were a freely elected government that would span its greatness through its freedoms, protected from our enemies by its armed forces. We the people. In the earliest years of the country, the USS Constitution, called Ironside, fought enemies such as Barbary pirates to help keep our shipping commerce free so our country could prosper. The sailors behind us maintain that tradition. Let's give them a big round of applause. Recently, pirates of another century and another time threaten peaceful commerce. And as an example before you is Captain Richard Phillips and his wife Andrea. And Captain Phillips from the merchant ship Maersk, Alabama, who was taken hostage by vicious pirates who certainly had no regard for his life. By now, I don't have to tell anyone about the heroic actions on the decks of the USS Bainbridge that made it possible for Captain Phillips to be here. And I'd like a round of applause for the USS Bainbridge. well, I should say 230 years of American history separate the three ships mentioned, the USS Constitution, the USS Bainbridge, and the MV Maersk Alabama. It's a tradition that was passed on from one generation to the next. The Star Spangled Banner flag we're about to raise has special meaning because it's the only flag that is flown on those three proud ships. A tradition we honor today and tomorrow. Almost 200 years ago, an American named Francis Scott Key was held hostage and forced to watch from an enemy ship as the enemy ferociously bombarded his fellow countrymen in a small port named McHenry. During this time, he penned a poem which became a national anthem. And one of the things about this flag is that we'll be flying on the parapets of Fort McHenry in September. As we ready ourselves to raise the flag and hear attendance in the national anthem, I would ask you to listen to the words of the national anthem and just picture yourself held hostage on an empty vessel, or in the case of our esteemed guest, held by pirates. Through despair, what would you feel upon seeing the American flag coming into sight? What would it take to give you solace that the flag is still there? As you sing the national anthem, listen to the words and look about you. For all these mementos have sacrifices to tell. It is ironic that the USS Bainbridge, members of the USS Bainbridge, are not able to be here. But when you think about it, the military is never really here because they are protecting us, protecting our freedoms. And I would like to pass out some very special checks, checks being the operative word, that Captain Johnson is aware of. As a curator, he has to do things like this. They are very special checks that can be cashed by one group of people. Things don't work the way they used to. Pass these out again. There's only one special group of people that can cash these. And I just want to read one of the checks. Paid to the order of we the people of the United States of America. My toil, my blood, up to and including my life. Only veterans can cash this. God bless our armed forces. God bless America.